Welcome to Acute Mania Live. Streaming from Shinston, West Virginia. Here's your host, Scott Arnold.
So good. Welcome to Acute Mania Live. That album is phenomenal, and not everybody can get it now. Even that song, "Needle" by Amplifiers. I have it, but nobody else does. I was gifted with that. But if you buy a physical copy, I have a physical copy up there. I don't know where you can buy them, but I need to ask them that. That way, I can tell people, "Hey, go buy the physical album." They're waiting to get on some kind of a label to get distribution like that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Jay Burnett are you from Glasgow, Scotland?
Yeah, from Glasgow, Scotland.
Okay. And he is do you say CEO? Does that make you feel too businessman-y, or?
Yeah, I'm just, I guess I would say I'm the owner and founder of Reaction Management. Yeah.
Right. And thanks for coming on, man. It's nice, really nice to have you on the show.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
We've exchanged many emails back and forth in the past few weeks, and we've put together an entire month full of your artists,
Yeah.
and I've been very impressed and lucky to have them on, and grateful to have them on.
You're welcome.
Tell me a little bit about how Reaction started out. I know you were doing some promo and stuff. Well, you have quite a history, and we'll try to hit as much as we can. But how did Reaction come about? We'll start with that.
I was a live music promoter, like on and off, having left like in college and done like music management courses and that type of thing. I then sort of dipped my toe into like promoting shows in Glasgow, promoting live shows in Glasgow. And that was kind of like mid-90s. And I'd done that on and off in between playing in bands for like 10, 15 years. And it wasn't until maybe like 2010, 2012, something like that, that I sort of found a band that I was promoting that I just really, really, really loved. And I was like, you guys could go really far. Do you have a manager? And they're like, no. It was like, why don't you be our manager? I was like, no, I don't do that. And it was like, well, just try. And I was like, okay, we'll see what we can do. And that band was called Altered Sky. And I was with them for seven years until they broke up. And when I threw everything into this band, and
it wasn't your fault that they broke up, though, right? I mean, you're the manager.
No, not at all. I learned everything from those 7 years, all the mistakes you make, and everything along the way. And when they split up, I was like, I've kind of given 7 years to these guys. What the fuck do I do? Can I swear? Yeah, I was like, what can?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck do I do now? It was actually my girlfriend at the time, my wife now. She was like, well, why don't you do what you've done with this band with other bands? 8-9 years later, there's like 50 bands on Reaction Management, and we're one of the biggest grassroots management companies in the UK. So there's a lot in between that, but that's kind of how we got to where we are.
Was there a time? I'm sure there was, but what was it like when you were sitting there going, okay, I just started from pretty much nothing, and here I am, and you're just kind of, it's one of those days where you're not overwhelmed with your work, but you're just like, wow, I'm really doing this,
Yeah, there are days I'll sit at my desk and and it must happen to lots of people. I'll feel like an imposter because nothing's going right that day. No one's answering the emails, nothing's clicking, and you're going, do all these bands rely on me? Am I actually any good? Nothing's going right today. And then the next day, everything just goes well again, and you forget about that day until imposter syndrome kicks in again. But it's I think I spent the first 10, 12, 13 years as a sort of promoter in Glasgow and Edinburgh and other places in Scotland, kind of trying to get out the scene. Because it would be like you'd be banging your head just to make a show break even, and then I would go, right, no, I've had enough. And then 6 months later, you would just get the urge to put on another show, and then back in again. In the mid 90s, maybe 95, 96, me and my sort of business partner at the time, Andy Lenihan, we had a small company called Mystic Events in Glasgow, and we put on like a lot of young Glasgow rock bands. One of the bands we put on in like 1998 was Biffy Clyro. Now, Biffy Clyro are like, huge world global and we had them playing in Glasgow in front of, I don't know, 10, 20 people, in some shows. And it's always a good story to tell because you can tell any band you work with, it doesn't matter if these bands are playing stadiums now, they all started somewhere, do you know?
Some of them like to go back to that too. Like even the ones
Yeah.
that are huge now, they like to go back to where, and get away from the stardom, I guess, of it.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we are now.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of get that too. Was there times, I mean, did anybody teach you how to do this, or are you pretty much self-taught based on experience?
Kind of taught the basics when I done my my degree, but that's you can only learn so much from
Sure, yeah.
studying and doing projects, etc. And it's just a case of going out there, and I've learned so much by all the mistakes I've made along the way, probably more than I have by the good thing. I think if everything had been really rosy for the first few years, I wouldn't be here now because it would have been, I don't know, I would have failed somewhere else. But every mistake I've made, I've looked back and I've corrected what I've done. And I think this is like what I like to tell bands as well when I'm discussing them, maybe joining the roster, is like, what I'll do is I'll try and see both sides of the stage when I'm working with you. As an ex-performer, I know what you guys are looking for as a band within that band unit. But as the manager, I know the pits and falls and all the things that you have to look out for as well on the other side of it too. So it balances it up for what I'm doing.
I know Redwood City, when I asked them, I said, what does Jay do for you? Just a general question. And they said one of the biggest things for them, because they're young, they said they were very unorganized with things, and that's one big thing that helped them was just the getting them to the next steps of okay, we're putting out an album, what do we do now? How do we promote it and stuff? That you helped them get shows, and I think I talked to Breeze when we were talking to Breeze about do you help do get them shows and go on tour and things, and everybody was like, yeah, I mean, he's helped us more than anybody could help us, because it's just they just didn't know where to go, and as a young person, you just want to get out there and play anyway, you want to get out there and melt people's faces and or whatever and just have fun, but there's got to be a business side to it too if that's what you want to do in life.
I mean, a lot of it is, what does the manager do? And I think the most obvious question for the bands that listen to the manager or actually really need the manager is they manage. I mean, it's there in black and white. I've worked with so many really, really good bands that were so disorganized, and they just needed somebody to say, this is what we're doing, this is the order we're doing it, this is the timeline we're doing it, and when I tell you to do something, you guys be ready to do it. And it's not like dictating, because it's a two-way street, because they're giving me the product, they're working hard on what they're doing, I'm working hard on all the admin. And if both the manager and the band can sort of work that together, as Redwood City said, a fantastic bunch of guys as well, and great songwriters, and they've got a massive year ahead of them. It's true, sometimes all it takes is just organization. I've had bands on the roster before who are really, really good, and we don't have contracts the way this roster works. A band can come, they can stay for 5-6 years, they can stay for 5 months and go, come and go. There's no ties,
no contract.
So a lot of bands will kind of feel they've learned a lot and they're prepared to go it alone, and that's cool. And I love that, and I love that they've sort of they've educated themselves along the way. But a lot of these fans take in all that information, a lot of these bands, and then they just hit stumbling blocks again, because as much as they've got all that information, there's no one actually managing that information, which is what they had in the first place. So sometimes sometimes you need a manager who's, it's not just for connections, and it's not just to open doors or try and get you further up the ladder. It's just to sort of manage the basics, because I think if you manage the basics, everything else will work itself out.
Now, do you manage financials also, or is that just? I know you have a team now too. It's not just you at Reaction. You have others that work with you. Is that part of someone else's job within Reaction, or do you not offer those services like financial services when it comes to them?
I mean, I absolutely do everything. We've got a team as well. We've got Dave Maxwell, who's like my assistant. He's been managing bands now for 5-6 years alongside me. We brought in Bonnie Ross recently, who manages Breeze. And she's just,
I think she sent me a follow on Instagram, actually.
Yeah, she's hit the ground running. She also does Bonnie Scotland Presents, which is her own promotions company. And she's absolutely one for the future. She'll go massively far. We've got some in-house bookers as well that work with the company. We've got this great girl called Shannon McLean, and what she does is she helps all the bands work their festival submissions, because a big part of being in a band is getting on those festivals. You know, and getting in front of people
that's a big deal.
Your friends and family, getting in front of people you don't know. That's what's going to make or break you. So she does a lot of that. So that team's kind of built up over the last few years, and every year my plan is always to try and bring in one more person. Well,
plus that's one more year that you get to relax a little bit more. You know.
Yeah. Well, I say that, and then I add another 10 bands to the roster.
Yeah. So how many are on the roster currently, or do you try to keep
it? I think. We have a couple starting in October, so come October, I think we'll have about 40, 45.
Is that plenty for you, or would you like to have 100 at some point?
I couldn't manage 100 at all. I would kill myself. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, maybe that's why reaction is the way it is. I don't switch off. I as soon as I start the day, I'm on the phone. I'm away. I go on holiday in a couple of weeks to Bulgaria with a wife. And I'll have the laptop with me. I'll have the phone with me, and because it's your own company as well. You can't walk away for 2 or 3 weeks, because you'll come back to a car crash. You know? Yeah. And the fact is, you're taking these bands on, and so these bands become a connection to you. So they need you. I'm not saying they need you 24/7, but if they need a question answered, you have to be there for them. You know.
Yes. Yeah. That's right. I had a question. I forgot what it was. If you're watching the show live with us, the live chat is open, and you have any questions for Jay, feel free to ask. It's there. I see him. I see you in there. I see the numbers. Don't be bashful. He's a nice guy. I met him over email, so you know. That's one thing too that's been crazy, especially in the journey of this show, is meeting people first on email. And, you know, growing up, you know, I graduated high school in 99. That'll kind of show my age. But, you know, I was born in 80. And, you know, I grew up in the time the internet was beginning, you know. And we never thought, you know, growing up, you never thought that, hey, I'd be talking to you in Scotland right now. And I'm in the United States. And, you know, we would be having a conversation for an hour. You know, that was unheard of. But, you know, meeting somebody like that is one thing. But, you know, meeting and developing a relationship through typing an email is crazy to me. You know, and you can really, you know, usually, you know, I guess more times than not, you can get the vibe of somebody through an email, and it's crazy.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, look at the way we sort of connected, and it's a big part of what I do. I mean, when we're, I go further back than you. I'm from 1972, so you know, I'm born 1972.
Not that much further.
When we're sending out press releases for the bands releasing music, etc. Now we have thousands of contacts, and that all goes in a press release, and we can send that out on one click, and it goes to everybody. But it's very impersonal, and the only way you get repeat plays or interview offers or offers for webzines or promo or written press is to build up real connections through email by emailing people personally, getting to know their names, so that every email you send isn't just a blanket email saying, "Hi, this band has a single."
You're
going, "Hi, Scott, how you doing? How's the cat?" That type of thing, and just being really friendly, and then taking it from there. And I know I appreciate that, and I know the people I deal with will appreciate that too, and they will give your bands more time than someone else who just sort of blankets them.
Yeah, it's way more personable that way.
Yeah,
you're not just sending a mass email to all these people. You know, you're personally reaching out and saying what's up. You know. Yeah, that's. Do you get clients that that kind of push back on what you're when you're trying to help them with something? Say might be, you don't have to name names, obviously, but you know, when you're trying to help somebody and they're not getting it, and you're you've gotten through to them, or maybe you didn't. Has there been times that's happened and you just kind of get frustrated as to why, why didn't they get it or something?
Oh yeah, for every success story or reaction, there's I wouldn't say there's failure, because every band has excelled. It's been on the roster at some point. They've all left the roster in a better place than when they joined. But some bands have left the roster fairly quickly because they just didn't want to listen. They had an idea in their head, and they just wanted a manager to open the doors and to get X, Y, and Z shows for them when it doesn't work that way, you know.
Yeah.
And they did not want to. I'm not going to name names, but I
Sure.
had a band on the roster who pushed so hard. There's a great venue in Glasgow, and it's a venue everyone wants to play. It's called King Tut's. Very, very famous venue. Oasis were discovered in King Tut's. That's the kind of venue it is. And they asked to get some support, and I was like, I don't think I can get you this, but I did. I got them this support in King Tut's, supporting this band. And I was all excited to tell them. And the band got back to me and said, "Oh, well, actually, Jay, that's cool, but we want the full UK tour. We don't just want that support." And I was like, "Sorry." I mean, you guys aren't even in that ballpark, do you know? And straight away, I mean, because I've been doing this so long now, I rely on my gut more than ever, and you can feel a red flag when it's coming. Maybe earlier on in my days, I would sort of, I wouldn't listen to my gut, and then I would end up making mistakes down the line,
Yeah.
or the bands. We've had, we've had some dodgy bands. The way the world is.
Mhm.
There's a lot of bands out there that do not nice things, and we've had a couple of them on the roster down the line, and you've had to deal with that. You've had to deal with press and whatnot. But now I tend to listen to my gut very, very early on.
And
And
now
I
you
would
have a
rather
team
be
of people
wrong.
that can
I
help
would
you with
rather be
that too.
wrong and listen to my gut and let a band go than than for that to be proved right and then have a car crash on the horizon.
And you have a team of people now, and I'm sure you can have a meeting, with all of them and
Yeah,
be like, what do you guys think? Are we doing, and help get helpful decisions,
it's good. It's
throughout
good
the whole
having a
team.
team too, because when you were on your own for so long, you can get in your own head as well.
Oh yeah.
And it's good to bounce off ideas off other people as well. So yeah, it's been terrific.
I don't even have a team, and I still do that with my friends.
That's good,
You
man.
know,
That's what the for.
and some of the past guests, there's a lot of past guests that I still talk to, and I still, even if they don't come back on the show, I mean, it's no hard feelings because they're busy. They're doing
Yeah,
their thing. But there's a band, there's a few bands I'll mention by name just because I'm appreciative. There's a band out in Portland, Oregon called To Bloom, and they're phenomenal. Their music's phenomenal. I love their music. We've never met in person. They've been on the show once, and then they came on again, but the guitarist couldn't be on. So we had those guys on, and then I had the guitarist on by himself like the next week or something. That's just how cool they are. They're just they're very supportive of the show, and
yeah,
I'd love to go out there, but they're on the other side of the country, and it's just tough. And I have Tom in London that co-hosts with me, and he's been a guest several times, and it's just having all that support. But I'll bounce ideas off of them, and even they'll send me their music before it's even released, and be like, "What do you think of this?"
yeah.
They'll trust me with that, and I love that. I will, and they want constructive criticism, and they're okay with that. They trust my opinion, I guess. That's nuts. I've never thought I would be in that position ever with a band, or have any kind of contacts whatsoever with any band, It's just nuts. It's crazy how life works, and even on your bad days, you can be like, I got this thing going where I'm talking to bands,
Yeah.
I'm talking to a computer screen, but I'm not. I'm talking to a band and forming a relationship, a friendship from now 31 different countries, and thanks to you, I knocked off 2 of those. We got Wales and Scotland, because I never did Scotland before Nothing Speaks was on. So
Oh yeah, Nothing Speaks. Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. That's for you. That's for you. What do you say? What do you say we take a short break and we listen to, I guess, one of your songs, right?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. What do you want to say about this song? This is "I Fought the Law," right?
So this goes way back to when I was in a band called Ocean Diesel, and maybe this was the manager in me sort of breaking out. And I was like, we were in a pop punk band. We were doing pop punk in Glasgow before a lot of pop punk really, really went big. Obviously, it was huge in America with the emo scene and whatnot in the sort of mid-90s and American hi-fi and all that type of stuff.
Can I show those pictures that you sent me, those old pictures?
Yeah.
I can?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, go for it, man. Yeah.
No, go ahead, keep talking.
And so I was kind of like, okay, well, we need to do something different. And I reached out to like a big sort of men's magazine called Front, and they had a feature in it with this London gangster, proper London gangster called Dave Courtney, and he done like a Dave Does section. So he was kind of trying to be a celebrity gangster now. He was trying to move away from being the bad guy and being in all the news and the papers. And he wrote loads of best-selling books, and it kind of spun from there. And he did a section called Dave Does. So I sent the magazine a letter, right? Not an email, a fucking letter saying, oh my God, there we go. There's the Glasgow Sum 41. That's where I got my wardrobe from, right in the middle. That was about.
Is this you here? Is this you here?
That was me about 15, 20 kilos ago.
Wow. You almost look like Chino from Deftones, just a little bit.
Yeah. So I sent this letter saying, hi, I would love, we do a song, we do a cover called I Fought the Law, but I would like to rewrite it all about Dave Courtney and how he went to court and he fought the law. I don't know why I done it. And the phone went like a week later, and it was Dave Courtney himself. And he was saying, I want to do this. I'll come to Glasgow. I want to record this with you. So all the national newspapers got involved. They were so behind us, and they came and they done a photo shoot at the studio. Yada, yada, yada. We released the song. And this is pre-social media. Do you know, there's no Facebook, there's no Instagram, there's no TikTok, there's no Twitter, there's no nothing. So none of that, you know, you're from that era as well. Do you know, it's like trying to tell bands now, there was a time where you couldn't do any of that. It just had to be old school, getting out there and, I don't know, going to the record store and putting up a guitarist wanted poster on the window, or, do you know, it's like, oh, fucking hell.
Can you explain this thing? I tried to read the article.
Right, so this is an offshoot of that band. That band ultimately split up.
Are you wearing anything under that kilt?
No, and if you look at the kilt closely, right, the sporran.
It's all right. I don't want to do that, but okay.
The sporran is actually upside down. The tassels are going up the way because the photographer told me to climb up a ladder and jump off a ladder holding the guitar. So I'm actually in midair there just now, and it's going up there. So what that was, I had joined a band in Paris called Pyro, and they'd actually played with Def Leppard, and they were like more, I don't know what you'd call that, sort of more pop rock, soft rock, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Jay's group were Bon Jovi with Garlic, and that kind of spawned from there. And the press were still kind of into what I was doing because of the Dave Courtney stuff, you know. But do you know what I love? You know, you were talking about having dark days or days where things aren't going right, or I love thinking back to those days going, do you know what? There's a lot of people out there have done a lot of stuff, but nobody's done that. Do you know, I had such a blast doing that.
That's badass. There's another article you sent me that we'll talk about after the song, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I think we're okay with a little bit of nudity. It doesn't really count because it's just a woman without her shirt on.
Yeah.
I showed that to I showed that to my dad. I think I did. He watches the show all the time. I don't know if he's watching now, but he was like, "What's going on there?" I was like, "I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out." But here's a cover, right?
Yeah.
I Fought the Law and the Law won, and I won by Ocean Diesel, and it's cut off. It says Brill.
Dave Courtney.
Oh, Dave Courtney. Okay. All right. Check it out. Is this out? Can people get this, or is this you have to?
I think it's on Spotify. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Breaking rocks in the hot sun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won. I needed money.
So this is Dave Courtney singing now.
Okay. What are you playing?
I'm the lead
Are you
singer.
playing guitar? Oh, you're singing?
Yeah.
I fought the law and I won. I fought the law and I won. They tried to bring me down to peg. Say I was repressed. I wasn't having none of that. Put him on his ass. Put him on his ass. Robbing people with a six-gun. I fought the law and law won. I fought the law and law won. I lost my girl and I lost my fun. I fought the law and law won. I fought the law and law won. They tried to put one over you, but I wasn't having that. The judges left to look like fools. I face the Lord, 'cause the Lord's been. I face the Lord, 'cause the Lord's been. I fought the law and I won. 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 I fought the law.
That's
No
bad.
change here then. That's it for me. I'm off.
That's terrific.
He done so many vocal takes at the end in the studio, just little ad libs from his book, and I think I've got them somewhere. He was a character and a half.
I'm looking him up right now because I'm not aware of him. I should be, right?
I don't know about America, but he was. You've heard of the Cray twins and all that type of stuff, and you know the London gangster scene, and he was a big part of that as well. But it was crazy. It was
That's him there, right?
That's Mr. Courtney. He's no longer with us, unfortunately. He died last year, but he was.
I'm gonna read
He
more
was a
about him.
gentleman with us.
And that's him on the track with you.
That's him on the track. He's got a kind of Ozzy Osbourne twang. I thought
Yeah.
every time he was singing along, there's something to him, and he was loving it. He was absolutely loving it.
I'll have to read more about him. I'll read more about him later on. That's awesome. Okay, here's kind of a general question. You might get this a lot. What's the difference between a label and a management company?
Okay, so with a management company, I would say you're dealing with day-to-day. You're dealing with admin. You're dealing with not just the timeline of a band. In my case, and I would imagine any other manager's case, you're almost dealing with like individuals as well, you know, as a whole, as a group, individually, personalities, and you know any issues that they have going as well, because all that can interfere with productivity and whatnot. I think with a label are getting the finished product, and they're dealing with the finished product, and they're using that finished product to get digital distribution or physical distribution, and work with PR and radio plugin, etc., just to make a profit for themselves, and obviously try and get that band famous. You know, I think that's kind of hard to do now. I think that the days of there's probably, like, you could probably count the number of mega superstar bands on two hands now around the world, and everyone else is at a different level altogether completely. I don't think we'll ever go back to, once Metallica and AC/DC and all these bands have all gone, there's no one at that level anymore, I don't think.
Be too tough to get to.
Yeah, exactly. And they've all come from an era when where labels were throwing money left, right, and centre. They were taking it back off the bands. Don't get me wrong, but they were throwing money at them, and that just doesn't happen anymore. You know, it's the days when you could do a gig and go, oh, there might be an A&R person in the audience. You know, there might be an A&R guy from Sony or from Virgin or from whatever. That rarely happens now because of the internet, because of emails, because everything's now done digitally. You know.
Yeah, I was wanting to touch on that too, and maybe since we're at that point, you know, how has it changed since that first stint of promoting one band, or you know, promoting one band and starting to manage and stuff? How has the landscape changed from then until we'll just say till today? You know,
I would say with Alter Sky, we they were a great band, pop punk band. If you look them up, they'd done so well. We had them over in Southeast Asia. We had them in Japan. We had them touring the UK, Ireland. They played Download Festival. They'd done all the big festivals, and I don't know. There was a lot going on that sometimes things just have to happen at the right time, and they were one of these bands where everything just kind of clicked into place. They were also such a very, very talented band. Excuse me, my cat is going.
Yeah, I hear him
just in the background. They were a very talented band. They had their demons as well, which ultimately how the band ended. But they were really, really cool people. But the landscape has changed dramatically here in the UK. Anyway, I think after COVID, after Brexit, people have stopped going to grassroots music shows. They've not stopped entirely, but the levels have dropped so much that promoters aren't taking as big a risk on getting touring bands. They would rather have 5 local bands play a show instead of 3 local bands and 2 touring bands, because those 2 extra spots could be the difference between breaking even or making a loss. Just the way the UK is at the moment. I suspect.
How many cats do you have? That's the second one.
He's everywhere. And we've only had him a month as well. On you go, pal. And with labels as well, I would say it's not a case of just being able to send like demos now to record companies or whatnot, because I think those days are gone as well. What you'll find is if you build up enough visibility for a band, they will come to you if they think that you fill the gap that they're looking for. Now, it's taken us a long time, but over the last 6 months, we now have like a couple of major labels who communicate a reaction and ask us to send them our releases regularly to them, and they'll just have a listen to them and see what's happening. But as I tell the bands, it's not all about doing one thing right and then expecting a good result from it. If you can do everything has to connect. So if you're releasing music or if you're touring, all these things play a factor in the band getting visibility, creating like white noise around them. If you can type in a band's name on Google and all these pages come up because things are happening and things are current, and those are the things that will get you better gigs. You know, when you're submitting to try and support a touring act, those are the things that will get you onto the bigger festivals, and those are the things that are going to attract the attention of labels. I mean, most labels now are kind of independent labels anyway, and they're not throwing money at you. And a lot of labels would actually prefer that the band comes ready-made almost, you know, with the masters and everything, and all they're really doing is acting as a distributor because they don't want to spend too much money on it. I mean, there's still great success stories out there as well, but I think any band on my roster right now, we would be looking at getting the ones who aren't already on labels. Like, you know, we've got obviously with Sam at Sod, we're looking at bands getting, you know, a nice independent label where they, much the same way they get used to having management, you can get used to working with a label as well. Because once you start working with a label compared to doing everything independently, oh my God, everything takes forever. Do you know, you can't just go, we're going to release a song in 3 months. You need to go to that label.
It's got to be scheduled.
We can't release anything here for, a year, do you know, type of thing. So you have to go what they do, and it can be when I was with Outward Sky, we had the album all ready to go. We had a massive budget for it, and we were working with Romesh at Longwave Studios, who was working with like Bring Me the Horizon. So it was high level production stuff. But we had to sit on that album for like 18 months before we could release it. That's a long time for a band to
sit on stuff. Yeah,
especially considering the album and the songs had all probably been written like 2 years prior as well. So you're sitting on this body of work for like 3 years before anybody else is hearing it, you know. So sometimes you can understand why bands end up going, we can't do this, you know.
Yeah. What's the, you know, I guess personally for you, what do you whoops, I just dropped something. What's the biggest name you've had on your roster up to this point? That's maybe wasn't much of something, you know, yet when you had them, or maybe they were, and has gone on to big things. I don't know how to ask that question in the right way, but you know.
No, I get you. Every band on the roster is still at grassroots level, but we do have bands who, I mean, my goal, so to speak, is for a band to get bigger than me, if that makes sense. Because I tell bands, I'm here to get you. I'm not here to get you from A to Z. I'm trying to get you somewhere in the middle so that you can move to bigger management company, bigger label, etc. And we have had a few. We've had a few bands on the roster who have left the roster, moved on to bigger management companies, moved on to bigger agencies, and are doing bigger and not necessarily better things, but you know, they're maybe now part of a stable where they're at the bottom. They're at the bottom of the sort of list where a lot of big bands where they might have been at the top of the list, you know, on that type of roster as well. So it's all about growing as well. Probably Altered Sky, even going way back, because they were the first band and they sort of set the levels, you know, getting the likes of, you know, Asian Tours and Download, etc. And we've had a few bands since they do that. We have a band on the roster, Tooth Gore. I think you interviewed Kobe already, didn't you?
He's awesome. Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, I mean, he's a one man, just a genius, and he's got a great supportive family behind him as well, which helps. And
his dad was in the chat on that show.
Yeah, he's Martin's fantastic. And his progress has been staggering as well, and he's going to be going to Asia as well next year. He's doing Japan.
I hooked him up with. I had a band from the Philippines on.
Right.
The Thinkers a few months ago, and I think they were already linked up before I even linked them up, but I played a little spin of their stuff on the show, and they're very grateful for that. But it's crazy. I have friends in the Philippines.
That's so cool. Yeah.
Nuts. But yeah, it's the entertainment business in itself. You know, if you incorporate all the different aspects of the entertainment business, it's crazy and it changes daily. It's hard to keep up with, but you know, I was looking at some stuff when I got on your website. This was during the time we were scheduling Hard to Explain, and we were doing that stuff. So this was early on, I guess, in our friendship, in our business friendship. If I like a website, the way it looks, I'll scroll to the bottom to see who made it, you know? And it was, on yours, it's, refresh my memory, it's Kiwi or Kiwi
Electric
something.
Kiwi.
Yes. So I got on their website, and I can't remember the guy's name that does that. Do you remember his name?
You know,
I know. I'm blanking right now.
He's such a good guy, but I'm so bad with names.
I know. I am too. I'm sorry. Anyway, he does a podcast with a guy in Canada.
Yeah.
And they've never met in person. So I started watching that. You know, because they had some pretty big names on there. You know, they had the guy from Third Eye Blind on there talking about stuff. So I started watching that stuff. But you know, that's how the business goes. That's what you have to do. You have to just, you know, constantly look up stuff and constantly, you know, be in contact with people and.
Well, I've known him since the Altered Sky days when he done a podcast and he had Anna, the singer, on the podcast, and then obviously I since discovered that he was doing his own websites, etc. And
Yeah.
you know, shout out to Electric Kiwi, because the websites are so,
and whatever
so,
his
so
name
good,
is.
you know?
I can't remember.
Oh, this is so bad. I'm going to regret this.
It's not that difficult of a name either. If you're
know,
watching,
I am so. I'm
going to look it up. I'll look it up for us right now.
Because I work with so many bands and so many people. See, when I do Zoom interviews, I'm so thankful that they have their name underneath them sometimes, because honestly, my mind goes a blank so bad that way.
Okay, here we go.
Maybe it's an age thing.
I do like his work, his sites and stuff, but I'm getting mine redesigned. My .com, I'm getting it redesigned, and I had already hired somebody at the time that I came across this, so I can't really go back.
Yeah,
but and I'm sure it's expensive the way that it's. There we go. Who's it? Oh, that's not right. What are you talking about? That's not. Oh, I thought that was going to be easy. It says who's the owner of Electric Kiwi, but that didn't come up. It came up as the stockholder. That's not right. What? I don't know. I can't find it right now. Oh wait,
give me 2 seconds. I'll get you, and I'm going to feel so embarrassed that
here it is. I just jumped on the hoops. What is it?
Ross. Look it up? It's Ross.
Ross, that's right. Ross.
Ross Barber Smith. Ross.
Yes. Shout out to Ross.
I'm so sorry if you're watching this back, but Ross,
I'll clip this out.
I'll tell you something else. I owe the growth, I would say, of Reaction as well over the last couple of years to the website. It just made
it's a great website. Yeah.
Life, you know.
It's very well designed. I'm going to hit him up if you know him pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, I can send you a CC and an email, and we can take it from there. That's how friendships are made, mate.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to him, just to have him on the show, and you know, maybe I might give him some business. You know, who knows? Who knows? But he's done several. I mean, Little Kim. You know, he's done several big names. That's why I kind of was like, well, yeah, I already did hire somebody, but this looks a little bit like he's going to charge me out the ass if I ask him. But
he's really reasonable, and what I
says he works with everybody. So you know.
Once he sets something up, he it's so user friendly to work from behind that I can constantly update. Excuse me, that's the red bill. I can constantly update everything, you know, that needs to be done without having to go to him.
That's what I'm trying to do, and that's what, you know, I'm not going to drop names yet. I did ask him to come on the show when he's done, but it'll probably be towards the end of the year. But you know, I'm moving hosting sites for one thing, because I didn't have a good experience with the one site. But you know, he's real professional, and you know, he's very responsive, very helpful, because I'm not very tech savvy at all when it comes to this website stuff. You know, and I don't have the time to sit and learn it. You know, I mean, there's things that'll teach you how to build a website. It's so easy, but it's not for me. Because I want it to look good. I have a lot of information to put up there. You know.
I'm still super old school, you know. I have people, obviously, that, you know, my colleagues like Bonnie, for example, who is a lot younger than me, and she comes with all these set skills, and she's great at social media. And she's going, oh, you should use this app, and you should do this, and all these for schedulers, and it'll save so much time. But I'm still of the nature where you can't see this. I have whiteboards all around me.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because without my whiteboard that's not in there, it's on a phone or it's on a laptop or whatever, I need to see it in front of me.
I was like that for a long time. Yeah. I was like that for a long time, you know, and then, you know, I think it was my dad that started saying, well, put it in your phone. Just when, or like a note or a reminder. Put a reminder on your phone. My dad would say that to me.
Yeah.
And I would just, you know, I would constantly have calendars like up in the refrigerator or something where I would write like a dentist appointment or something in there. It's like, just put it on your phone that you'll never forget, because your phone, you know, everybody has a phone.
Do that. I've got a three-way system, so it's all on the laptop. It's on the phone, and then I will write everything down again onto the whiteboards as well. And
you save so much time if you just eliminate all the whiteboard stuff, but then you would be lost, right?
I would be lost, because I can sit at my desk at any point and go, I still have to do that, and I need to do this band, and I need to do that. It's there staring at me.
Sometimes you don't want to take the time to get your phone out, and you know, because you're probably already on your phone doing something else, and you have to switch. Hey, guess who's in the chat?
I don't know.
Hard to Explain is in the chat. Hard
really?
to Explain. And they say two of our favorite people. Oh, that's so nice of them, right?
That's nice, isn't it? Kiss asses.
We can't be their favorite people. They're doing really well too. I had a great time talking to them. They were.
Oh,
really
they're
cool.
such nice people. Do you know, they're such good people.
Is everybody on your roster nice? Because up to this point, it's been that way for me.
Everyone on the roster currently is nice. The ones that leave the roster that were maybe bands leave the roster, and that happens, and that's just part of evolution. But there are some bands. Oh, look, hey, you pal. But as I mentioned before, when you get that kind of red flag, and you know, bands just have to go. But I would say sometimes I get some fantastic music sent to me. I get maybe like 30, 40 submissions a week.
Wow.
And we can't work with them all. And
how do you narrow it down?
Some of them are so good. And then we'll have I'll have a look. We'll organize a chat. And I can tell now from like a 40-minute Zoom chat, doesn't matter how good this band are or how talented, I can tell if I'm going to, because it's about personalities as well. I can tell if I'm going to be able to work with this band or not. And a lot of the time it's like, do you know what? I'm not getting the right.
Do they really want it as much as I'm going to give it to them, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're really going to want this, and they're going to work hard. And you don't want to waste your time on somebody that's not.
Exactly. The Hard to Explain are so talented, so cool.
Well, I don't want to ask that question. I'll wait till the end to ask that. What I was going to ask. What do you say we have another song of yours on here that you sent me? It is Dirty Water.
Oh, that's an old demo from Ocean Diesel. Yeah.
Can we play that? And
that's never aired at all. That would be cool.
Oh, nice. Nice. We'll play that, and then we'll do a little bit of the offstage segment, which is the weird questions I was telling you about. It'll be fun. I got some good ones. I'm gonna pull them up while we're listening to this.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of. I do have some questions that maybe the people that aren't chatting, they might just be watching and observing. You know, hopefully that's a question they might have in their mind. They just don't want to ask it, right?
Yeah.
You know, about the business from their standpoint. And you know, I've never had somebody in this position, you know, from this side of the business.
Yeah.
You know, so it's I kind of want to try to ask the questions that they might be wondering. You know, so we'll do that at the end, and but we'll do offstage after this song. What is Dirty Water about? Is it about? I would say I don't know if you know about the Flint, Michigan disaster where they had the bad water for. Did you hear about that all the way? Yeah. Well, I can't make the joke then. It won't be funny, but. I could be like, is it about Flint, Michigan? But that's not very.
No, it's about heroin addiction.
Oh well, I was way off then.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you want to say? You didn't have it's not. Did you have that addiction? You don't have to say.
It doesn't come from any personal experience.
Okay,
it was just a song written, and it just kind of worked.
Gotcha. All right, here's "Dirty Water" by Ocean Diesel, and you said this isn't out. Nobody has this.
No, this has just been lying in the archives now for years.
Oh, nice! I feel special. Well, if you want a copy, I have a copy, but it's going to cost you if you want it. Here we go.
I stare into the fire, I watch the flames go higher. The truth's not easy to ignore. Dreams don't measure my existence. I have to beat the system. The cracks on my skin getting sore. Uneasy feeling riding up into the heavens. See it well for me. Go down the river to the sea. It's where my heart belongs to be. Bring my spirit to the sky, sing whoa, whoa. Open up your heart and lose your soul. I face my consequences, I carry on relentless, picking up the steel and counting up my score. The bright lights suffocate me, they hold me down and rape me, and leave me breathless on the floor. On easy feeling, riding up into the heavens. Seal prayer for me, cut down the river to the sea. It's where my heart belongs to be. Bring my spirit to the sky, sing whoa, whoa. Open up your heart and lose your soul. Bring my spirit to the sky, sing whoa, whoa. Open up your heart and lose your soul. Uneasy feeling, riding up into the heavens. Seal prayer for me. Cut down the river to the sea. It's where my heart belongs to be. Bring my spirit to the sky, sing whoa, whoa. Open up your heart and lose your soul. Bring my spirit to the sky, sing whoa, whoa. Open up your heart and lose your soul. Bring my spirit to the sky, sing whoa, whoa. Open up your heart and lose your soul. Bring my spirit to the sky, sing whoa, whoa. Open up your heart and lose your soul.
That was so good to hear that again.
Do you miss it? That's like the number one
mate,
question
I
now.
miss it so much. I had a chat with someone a while back, and it was kind of like, why is it you do what you do? And I think a part of it is trying to fulfill maybe a gap in me as a performer, not making it, and trying to use my experience to get another band to make it, or other bands to make it, kind of thing as
That's
well.
awesome.
Do you know that song in particular? The guitarist on that, Stevie Wariski. I think I was in like 4 or 5 different bands in Glasgow, and it was always me and Stevie. He was just a phenomenal guitarist. I mean, it was just always worked together all along, you know, until he went his way and I went my way, kind of thing.
Is there a chance for a reunion?
Do you know what? The band have brought this up about 3 or 4 times. When I say the band, I mean, like, we were all friends, all growing up. You know, you've seen the photographs, all grown up in Glasgow. And they brought it up a few times. And the only person to let them all down every time was me.
Oh, come on.
I was out of the country. I was doing a tour. I had this on. I was never around. And, you know, it's kind of like, I need to do it, because I would love to get back in the studio and just, you know, just
if you can schedule it enough ahead of time, I will try to come over.
He's so cool.
I need to come over there anyway, because I have all these friends over there now, and
absolutely.
I've been out of the country, but I don't think Mexico and Canada really counts as being out of the country, because it's still landlocked. You know, I've never been over. You know, but I would love to come over there and you know, spend I'd probably take a couple of weeks. It wouldn't be worth it for a week. You know.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
To try to hit London and Scotland and stuff. I think that would be, and I don't know whether to do it alone or drag somebody with me. I don't know what would be the best way to do it.
I think if you want to come, you bring someone with you, because when you see some of the you know, the cool sights, or the, you know, like, especially when you're Scotland, you see the Highlands and the mountains and the lochs and that, you kind of want to share that moment with somebody as well, you know. So it's always a good thing to do, I think.
Well, as a single guy, you know, I can bring my cat with me, I guess. I don't know. All right, here, let's do a little bit of offstage here.
Yeah,
I won't spend too much time on this, but I got a few questions I don't normally ask. All the bands because a lot of them haven't had the experiences that you've had. What's the if there's a place? What's the most surreal or unexpected place you've ever woken up? Because I know that you probably partied a little bit during those times, right?
Yeah.
Either touring or just after a show.
Maybe not woken up, but the weirdest place we've ever been was part of that whole time with Dave Courtney managing the band, because not only did he sing on that track, he was like, "Do you know what? I'm going to bring you guys to London. I'm going to manage you." And we were like,
"He does a manager too."
So we were being managed by this celebrity gangster, and it was cool. It was funny. We were in the papers, you seen everything. It was fun, but the end was near when we went down to London, and we stayed at Dave's house again, and Dave took us to this mansion just outside London where you have a photograph where this was taken, and he was he was shooting a porn movie at this mansion.
Oh, right? Is this the newspaper thing?
Yeah, so he was now involved.
I'll get this up
shooting this porn movie, and he was like, "Right, I'm going to be busy today, guys. So I just want you to sort of stay in this area." There was a big swimming pool. There was like a big fridge, and it was just full of expensive champagne and whatnot. Just keep yourselves occupied in there. We've seen it all, lock, stock, and two smoking porn. That was when the paper followed us again. It's great. And if you read that story as well,
I did read a little bit.
It was after it just started to get.
You guys look terrified in that picture.
I think. Oh yeah, we were. We were absolutely. We were on a porn shoot. We didn't know what was happening. We went from being a band who was doing all this really cool stuff. We'd been taken on by this manager who everybody knew, but it was almost getting seedy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't getting right, and after that trip, and we met everyone afterwards, and do you know the porn stars were delightful. They were brilliant girls, and we were talking to them afterwards, and it was kind of like,
were they still topless when you were talking to them?
No.
Damn.
And they were like, they were talking to their boyfriends on the phone, and we were asking questions like, "How do you guys do what you do?" And yet you have boyfriends, and it was really interesting that how empowered these girls were, but also at the same time, we didn't want to be involved with that side of that.
This line right here tells it all. Scott's band, Ocean Diesel, have lifted the lid on their year of living dangerously with gangster Dave Courtney. I mean, how does that? Did you ever even imagine that would be said like that?
No. No. The papers went mad for it. Absolutely mad for it, because it's such a bizarre story.
There's the rest
we
of
weren't,
it there.
We weren't a famous band at all. So that was the first story that says this is real gangster rap.
Wait, there's a whole section of crime?
Yeah. So
I didn't read that part.
So that's Dave's history. Dave's had like 4 or 5 best-selling books at this point, talking about his life as a gangster and a hitman.
There you are.
There we are. Very young and very skinny. It was a strange time. It was exciting. It was fun. But if you read at the very end, I think, of that article, it talks about how the end was near, and we had to sort of part ways with Dave, etc. And it was all on good terms.
But he wasn't mad. He wasn't mad that
we were getting lost. We were kind of getting lost in what we wanted to do and what he thought, a band should be doing. And we weren't doing anything musical anymore. It was all gimmick stuff,
Yeah. You weren't progressing. You were just kind of.
No. I'll tell you a funny story, but just on the offshoot of that. When we were at this sort of indoor swimming pool for 5 or 6 hours, and I was like, guys, I need to go for a pee here. I've had too much champagne. I need to go for a pee. And I think someone in the band was like, well, you're not allowed to go. Remember, use this door. Don't go anywhere else. Blah blah blah. And I was a bit drunk, And I went out the wrong door, and then I'm now lost in this mansion, and I'm trying to find my way back. And I open a door, and as I open the door, I just hear cut, 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 and there's like people with boom mics and lights. And I just walked in. I walked in on a porn scene, and I was like, oops. I was like, I'm really sorry. I've never been so embarrassed in my life.
You didn't join in? I would have joined.
Not at all. I really sorry. I just shut the door, and I think I just sort of. I mean, I thought I was a cool frontman, pop punk, star.
At that point,
I shat myself there, and I was like a little boy, and I ran out that door, and I was like, tried to find the band straight away, and I think that's when it kicked
at least.
In.
If you can't join in, at least stay and watch. Just be like, I'm here to. Just be like, Dave sent me here to make sure that everything was going okay. Make sure you guys had everything you needed. Just act the part.
Yeah, but I think that in itself was kind of like. That was a realization. Do you know? It was like, do you know what? This has been interesting. It's been a story to tell. Years later.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
I can always look back. I can look at the press, but that was where we drew a line under anything. We went back to Glasgow like 2 or 3 days later, and we never went back down there as a band again. Although I still stayed friends with Dave Courtney, and I would go back down and visit him, cool, and Dave Courtney he actually, for all that he was a gangster, and I'm sure he'd done some not nice things in the past, but
as a gangster,
he said something to me on the night we were going home, and I said to him, listen, Dave, thanks for everything. It's been fucking great. But I think we're going to go back. We're going to reevaluate everything. And, some of the band members just aren't in it anymore. And he took me aside. It was in a bar. And this resonates with me till the day I die. And I said to him, do you know what, Dave, maybe I just want too much in this life. Maybe I just want too much as a musician. And he said, Jay, you don't want too much. You just want it more than they do. And that always stuck with me. There's a big difference between wanting too much and, wanting, to fulfill what you think you can do. And maybe, as a progression, I'm now doing what I'm doing to try and get the best out of the bands I work with as well now, because there's nothing. Awesome. I remember going on stage in France and all over the place and playing in front of thousands of people on some occasions. And I still get that same excitement when I open up an email and it's good news about a band saying, hey, Redwood City have got this show, Toothgore of this got the show, Stay for Tomorrow, or the Rhubarb, whatever. They've got this good support slot. And I cannot wait to tell the band that news. And that excitement keeps me going again,
It's kind of like if I book somebody that's fairly well known, but because I don't ever do that on here. I always get bands that people don't know, and I try to get give the bands that. Yep. But sometimes I just can't wait to post the event, to post the guest, just because it's like Joe. I'm having Joe from Inside the Trojan Horse soon, and he hasn't sent me his own promo. I have the promo from his other band, but I don't want to post that because it's not about that. But I can't wait to post that, and I'm just waiting for him to send me. I even sent him a message, I think last night. I was like, send me some promos so I can start,
Yeah.
But it's just waiting, but it'll happen. But he's a bigger guest than I usually have. Anyway, this might be a given. The way that you talked about this venue earlier, but if you could only play one venue for the rest of your life as a musician, where would it be?
That's a hard one.
Is it? I was thinking about it would be King Tut's since you spoke so highly of it.
I as a singer with a few bands probably played King Tut's 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
What happened was I was lucky enough when I was at college doing a music course. Part of that was working with businesses as well. So I worked with a company, DF Concerts, who are massive now, DF Concerts. And they booked the shows for King Tut's. So I was an intern in there, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
So I was able to, anytime there was a local slot available, I would just speak to the boss and go, well, can I just put my band on that? And he was like, yeah, that's cool, Jay, that's cool. So I used that opportunity. Yeah, as much as I could. But And I played some really cool festivals and some really, really good stuff in France when I was with the French band. But there was a gig in Glasgow in a place called Fury Murray's, which doesn't even exist anymore, and it was full. And it was like a 25-minute set, and we played that Dirty Water, we played all these sort of songs, that Ocean Diesel, that band you saw there.
Yeah.
And the crowd went, we'd never played there before, and the crowd didn't know us, and they just went nuts. And for 10-15 minutes after that show, we just felt amazing, you know. And I think we thought it was going to take off and whatnot, and it didn't. But I've done bigger and better shows than that, but that's the one show that I always remember, because it was the one show where everything kind of clicked and everything on stage was perfect and the vocals were faultless. It was just one of those gigs, you
Perfect
know.
nights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's more questions I have that pertain to you and everything. Hopefully, we can have you back at some point. But
yeah,
everybody gets this last question that I ask. That has, it's. I'm sure you've heard it already if you've watched any of the shows. But everybody's gotten this question. Would you rather have dicks for fingers or never be able to taste anything ever again?
Fucking hell.
I love it.
I think I would rather never taste anything ever again.
Really? No dick fingers for you?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what I would do with that. I don't know how it. I don't know how I would play the Xbox.
I guess you'd figure it out, you know. Yeah,
I've never been asked that question. I hope I'm not.
We've had several. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what the best answer to that one is. I mean, I don't ever answer them. I have once, but that was But yeah, that's. I have to ask everybody that question, regardless. I don't care if you're a Christian band. I'm going to ask you if you want dick fingers or not. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's important.
It's always nice to finish off with the important questions, isn't it?
Well, yeah, you would think. Yeah. I do have a thing I'm working on, like I guess a jingle, you know, to go into that segment that I'm working on, but it's not ready yet. I'm busy. I'm busy with reaction bands. I have reaction bands all month. Tomorrow we have another one. Emerald Sunday will be on.
Yeah, they're such a good band. They'll probably tell you more about it themselves, but they were a band who were going places. They were going places, and then COVID came.
I read that. Yeah.
All the gigs stopped. Everything stopped, and they have just had to pick themselves up. And they're getting there slowly but surely. But they are.
I like their
such
stuff.
a good band. Yeah,
I like their music. Yeah, it's really good stuff. I like all of them. Every band that I've had up to this point, and the ones I haven't heard yet. Unfortunately, I had to cancel Final 13.
Final 13. Yeah, but they're
we'll reschedule them for sure. I definitely want to have them on. But yeah, it's all the music's been fantastic. It's been different too, you know. And I love the. It's the same, but it's different. You know, I mean, there's genres and genres and genres of. There's how many cores is there under metalcore? You know, there's deathcore, there's grindcore. You know, and it goes the same with I think every genre except for country. For some reason, country doesn't really have any subgenres that I can think of. Maybe they do. I don't listen to country, so I don't know. But you know, it's. You could just say it's rock. You can just say it's pop. You could just say it's, and that's about as far as I go when it comes to that stuff. You know, like
I think so. I mean,
you know,
exactly the whole genre. You could probably just define as being guitar based. The whole genre. You know, from light singer songwriter to pop rock, all the way through to we've got doom metal bands on the roster. You know, we go from one extreme to the other and everything in the middle.
There's a artist on your. I hate to single anybody out, but there's an artist on your roster that's not like rock. I think it's more. Is it Vulgarism? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Vulgarism, yeah, it's kind of like techno metal.
I would love to have them on. Let's work that out. Let's work that out sometime.
Okay,
I'm into that stuff. It just the music's. I've listened to a little bit of it. And it seems interesting to me. I just really like to ask some questions. You know.
Once again, that would have been someone I would never have worked with because it's not a genre I know much about, or even a genre I listened to. But there was something there. It was something different, you know. And I liked the guy when I spoke with him, and that's a lot of it is about that, you know.
Well, I guess that brings me into the final questions. I hate to even go. We could probably talk for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know? What
I'll
is it?
definitely come back. I'll definitely come back.
For sure. Yeah, definitely come back. You know, a lot of bands that might be watching or maybe watching later on, they see that I had you on and they'll come and watch. What is one thing that you would tell a band if they're, you know, if they're new or they've even been at it for a while and they're stuck, or they, you know, what would you tell them to do? Would you tell them to reach out, not necessarily to you or to a management company? What would be their next step if they're just stuck in a space where they maybe they have it, they think they have it, you know, to keep going. Do you understand it? I'm trying to phrase this as best as possible, but
I think there's a couple of things bands at that level should do. I think first of all, a band at that level that are finding that they're stuck in a rut, I think they should look around and go, and this might sound a little bit callous, but I would say, who's the weakest member in this band? Who's not pulling their weight? Because what I've always found is that people don't rise to doing what the busiest or the most hardworking person in the band does. People's levels drop down to doing what the weakest member do. And I would always cut that weakest member out of the band, bring someone new in, and you will be rejuvenated. If that's not the case, then it might just be a case of, you know, you need someone thinking outside of the band, you know, like a management company to maybe just sit and discuss what we can do for you. The biggest thing I would tell any band to do, whether they're working with me or whether they're working on their own, is fine tune their communication skills. Because, you know, bands that don't respond to emails, bands that don't respond to social media messages, and they'll leave them hanging for weeks and months, they'll never go anywhere. They need to be super communicative. And it's the same with me. Every band I work with, we have our own private group chats. And, you know, I need a response within like 24 hours from a band to know that things are happening. And I'll do the same. I'll make sure that if a band messages me, I will not let that go a day without getting a response. So communication for me is the key, absolute key.
that's good advice. Yeah.
It's simple, and I tell bands all the time. It's sometimes it's not about the contacts you have. It's not about the doors you can open. It's about doing all the simple things in the correct order and the right way. And if you can just get your head just a tiny little bit above everyone else's by doing things the right way, your chances increase dramatically. You know, it's kind of like the American football analogy, isn't it? When you're sort of trying to get what do you call it? Fucking hell, trying to steal yards or whatever it is. I don't know.
For a touchdown.
Something like that. I mean, it's a nonsense game, isn't it?
You all get annoyed when we call, you know, your football soccer?
Don't say it. Do not say soccer.
I played soccer growing up. If you would have said football, I would have been like, I'm not putting the pads on, you know?
Yeah, this is my soccer team here, so to speak. This is Glasgow Celtic.
Okay. I did ask, I asked Breeze what their favorite team was, and they were all different. And they were kind of hesitant to even say who they liked, because they weren't sure who was going to be listening.
Sometimes people can be funny, or like not the bands themselves, but like me speaking as a manager of a roster, saying that I support Celtic, straight away, half of Glasgow are going to go, "Oh, who is this guy? He's an asshole," you know.
I remember that movie. There was a movie with the Harry Potter kid, Green Street Hooligans.
Yeah.
Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, that's right.
And I asked Tom, my friend in London, I asked Tom about that, and he's like, "Yeah, it's really not like that anymore.
No,
it's not as." But then I was on TikTok the other night, and I see that there. I think it was in like it was in another country. It wasn't in like the UK or that area at all. There was this massive brawl where they completely stopped the game and everything and evacuated the stadium because one team was going after the other, like with rocks and
That sounds like some shit you would get like South America or something. Those fans.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. Yeah,
yeah.
But
Crazy fans.
People were injured, and I don't think anybody died or anything. But but I guess that's a common occurrence. Or it used to be a common occurrence, I guess, amongst football clubs, right?
Yeah, but back in the 80s, it was fairly bad. Now all the clubs now are all big corporations now, so you know.
So there's nothing like that happening anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie was crazy. Like, I'm like, wow, I don't know if I want to go to England that bad now. You know,
Yeah.
nuts. That was a good movie though. It seemed like it portrayed the stuff going on at that time.
Yeah, I think it was like the London rivalries with like Chelsea and Millwall and West Ham and that type of stuff. So.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, Jay, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's like I said, we could probably talk more and more about things for another couple hours here, but you got to get back to managing, or there won't be a management.
Exactly, and you know what? It was nice talking about the bands. It was nice talking about the company. It was really nice hearing Dirty Water again after 20 years, something like that. That's just been.
I think a reunion is in store at this point.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think I'm going to reach out to everyone. I'm going to say, right, listen, I'm the one who's held all this up. Let's do it. And they'll all say, nah, fuck off, Jay, we're busy.
We got shit to do. Yeah. We're out of the country. Yeah. Yeah. And if that happens, you can schedule enough ahead of time. Let me know, and I'll try to schedule my trip around that. Because I keep saying I'm going to start planning, but things come up. I mean, we had the 5-year anniversary this year, and we did a big. That was my first time ever promoting a show and putting one together, which was I don't know how people do that all the time. It's just oh my God, it's just. But it came together just fine. Everybody, we had a great time, and it was successful, and I might do it again next year. Make it a yearly event. And just with different bands. That I can let further bands that are further away. Let them know ahead of time so they can make a plan to come out. But yeah, that's the idea. But I originally wanted to do a festival, Jay, and then I started hearing not really horror stories, but horror stories about trying to put something that big of an event together if you've never done it before, especially, and just the amount of things that you have to cover. You have to have insurance for things, and you have to have food trucks, and you have to have water, and you have to have an event space for one thing. Just security. So much stuff, and I'm grateful I didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have very deep pockets.
Yes. I had to for this also, but I wanted to do that anyway, just because I didn't want anybody to play for free. And we don't have a big scene here, but I think if maybe if I try to do this every year, it'll gain some stuff. You never know. That's how festivals start, really.
Exactly. 100%.
And by that point, you have people that do things for you, and they cover stuff that you don't have to cover, and you don't have to worry about things. But we'll see. This is still my baby. I still want to make this my thing. So
sounds good.
Anything else you want to say before we go to the audience about anything?
Just really, if anything that I've said is sort of rang a bell, and you're interested in management. I mean, we primarily work with UK and Irish bands, but we do have bands on the roster from Greece, from Hungary, from Italy. I've never worked with an American band. So if you've got bands listening and they want to do something, tell them to hit me up. We'll see what we can do. That would be another venture, something different for me as well. So that would be interesting.
Oh yeah, nice. All right. I didn't have any intro and outro planned. That's why I played me at the beginning, because I had that going when Jay jumped on the Zoom thing. So we got to talking about Joe Graw and Inside the Trojan Horse and stuff. So I said, well, maybe we'll just play one of his songs at the end, or one of their songs.
Sounds good, yeah.
So my favorite song from them is Savior, so we'll listen to that. Jay, if you have like 5 minutes or so, I'll give you a formal goodbye once I quit the live stream here in a second. And I will be back tomorrow with another one of Jay's bands off of his roster, Emerald Sunday. They are from, remind me again where they're from?
They're from... they're actually from they're originally from a tiny little village in Scotland called Kirriemuir, which is where the birthplace of AC/DC is.
That's right. Yes, I did. I read about that. Yes, that's right. Is that where they're going to be zooming from? You think?
I think they're mixed between Kirriemuir, Dundee, and even Dunfermline. So they're all going to be on like the east coast and north of Scotland. So nice. Unless they're all in the studio together, I'm not sure, but it'll be fun.
Awesome. Yes, for sure. That show starts at 3 p.m. Eastern, and that's 8 p.m. over there, correct?
Yeah.
And then, gosh, we're kind of on the other side now of let's see, we have Absinthe Green coming up.
Yeah, that's the group band.
Be next week, and Roger Bacon's coming up. Stay for
Yeah,
Tomorrow
from
and the
Glasgow.
Horror. Yeah, that'll be rounding this out, and then we'll get Final 13 in there too somewhere. I'll look at my schedule here. And
Sounds good.
That. Thanks again, Jay. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. with Emerald Sunday. And here is Inside the Trojan Horse with Savior. And we'll see you. Have a good one.
You too, Scott. Cheers, man.
Waiting in line with so much time